Philadelphia Fire by John Edgar Wideman portrays the events of the MOVE bombing in 1985 through the view of Cujo, an aspiring African-American writer. Wideman characterizes his fictional Philadelphia through the eyes of the main character Cujo, or through Wideman's own eyes. Throughout the novel, we can't help but question who the speaker is and if the fictional Philadelphia is really fictional. The novel begins with Cujo living on a Greek island, working as a bartender, when he learns about the MOVE bombing and returns home. The accidental burning of the houses on Osage Avenue in Philadelphia was a real-life incident that left 262 people homeless and 11 MOVE members dead. The MOVE group is classified as a Black liberation community living together in one house. They believe that all living things are equal, but do not believe in the use of technology. Cujo starts to obsess over the finding of the boy who survived the fire, Simba, who most likely represents the actual survivor of the fire, Michael, nicknamed Birdie Africa. Cujo's investigation leads him to interview Margaret Jones, a former MOVE member who is the only woman Wideman gives a voice to throughout the story. She talks about the founder, John Africa, and refers to him as the King, as did every member, not to be confused with Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson, or the King of the Jungle. John Africa was not considered the king for making #1 hit songs or for being the most feared animal in the jungle, but he portrayed himself as a king, sitting on a throne. We meet one of Cujo's old classmates, Timbo. He believes the bombing was less of a tragedy and more of a public relations issue. Part 1 of the novel identifies this fixation that Cujo has with objectifying and sexualizing every woman he thinks about. Now get your head out of the gutter, because I know what you're thinking. Cujo is not a pervert, and although Wideman did develop what is called self-induced schizophrenia, he was not a pervert either. Now, as Cujo continues to search for the lost child, Wideman expresses his own lost child, who pleaded guilty in 1988 to murdering his friend on a camping trip. Cujo never finds Simba, but Timbo tells him that Simba's gang of 15 and 16-year-old disciples that call itself the Caliban Kitty Corps, or the KKK, which makes us think of the Ku Klux Klan and Wideman's savage irony. The book ends with Cujo attending the memorial service for the MOVE members. He wants to run away when he hears footsteps of a mob following him. We are forced to ask ourselves, is this real life, or is he just hallucinating? When reading through the novel, one can tell that Wideman discusses his own struggles through Cujo. Is Cujo a portrayal of Wideman? Now, there are many ways to analyze this novel. One can become a Marxist critique, which you see the struggle of the power relationship between the legal system and African Americans, and in relation to Wideman's son in jail and the police brutality towards the MOVE members. You can become a feminist and view the novel through the objectifying thoughts that Cujo has in his struggling marriage. There's also no female voices in the novel, except for Margaret Jones. You can view it as psychoanalytic, where Wideman displays his life through the story of Cujo. You can also describe it as Foucauldian, the fear and order instilled from the legal system. Or you can view it as new historic, which you question the distinction between history and fiction by drawing on different literary documents to support historical analysis. In today's video, you learned about the MOVE bombing in Philadelphia in 1985, Cujo's search for Simba, which reflects Wideman's search for his son, that John Africa is not the same as Elvis, and how when reading the book you can critique it in many ways. I'm Claire Ritzman, this has been Crash Course, thanks for watching.